all she saw, all of it rubbed the wrong way. Yet only her clothes left blisters. Soon she would remove her boots, too. Wet boots always meant lost toes. In the north, lost to frost. In the jungle, lost to rot. Yet she would wait until the road before taking them off, when she would be less likely to step on a venomous snake or a stinging vine. Finding the road was a simple matter of following the path she'd slashed through the foliage. She slowed when the sound of voices told her that a group of travelers was already upon it. Out of sight, amid a heavy growth of ferns, Lizzan studied the procession. A few dozen families, men and women, young and old. A handful of carts drawn by oxen carried supplies and the weaker among the travelers, but most walked, except for the mounted figure at their head. From this vantage, Lizzan could not see her face, but the red cloak she wore identified her well enough. A Naira warrior, or so she would have everyone believe by wearing that cloak. Once, those roaming warriors guaranteed the safe passage of anyone who traveled the road with them, for only a fool would attack one of the goddess Vela's chosen. But few Naira warriors had survived Unabridged the Destroyer's deadly march from a generation past. Now, it was more likely a woman from the caravan had donned a crimson cloak in hope that bandits would not risk attacking a party led by a true Naira warrior. The deceptive practice had become so common, however, that there was little protection in it anymore. Instead, those who could afford the cost hired guards, which was how Lizzan earned most of her coin. She escorted merchants and nobles fleeing east, as rumors spread of the destroyer's return from the west. From the east, she escorted merchants and nobles fleeing west to escape the tyranny of the warlords in Lith, and from the north came those fleeing unnamed terrors that haunted the ice and snow. From every direction, everyone was fleeing some danger, only to find there was nowhere safe to go. So most remained in Krimoth, where the ivory throne offered protection to all who sought refuge. Those who didn't stay in Krimoth continued fleeing south. This was the first party she'd seen fleeing north. Usually the only escort in that direction was for merchants' goods, which were a prime target for bandits. More than all else, the destitution of these travelers might be better protection than any red cloak. They had little to tempt thieves. Unfortunately, thieves were often tempted by very little. A few stragglers made up the tail of the caravan, likely those who had joined the group after it had already started out, for it was Vela's law that no one would be denied an Naira warrior's protection upon the road. Even if that warrior was in truth a farmer, she would not chase away the stragglers and risk her disguise. Lizzan waited for the entire procession to pass, then caught up to straggle after the stragglers. With her sodden hair hanging over the left side of her face, armor and leathers wrapped up in her bedroll, she received little more than a curious glance or two from the others, and she remained far enough behind to escape any attempts at conversation. But she did not escape notice. Lizzan had barely settled into the procession's slow pace when the quick tempo of hoofbeats announced the approach of the red-cloaked figure. Oh, and no farmer was she. Not on a horse so fine. Sheer envy struck Lizzan's chest. Perhaps she would part with her mailed tunic after all. Except this woman did not need Kothan armor, though she hardly wore any of her own. She was not a large woman, shorter than Lizzan and more finely boned. A thick braid swept her black hair away from the proud set of her face. Lizzan had never laid eyes upon that face before, but had little doubt of the woman's identity. Lizzan could not step into a tavern without hearing of how Krimoth's future queen had set out on the sacred quest that would earn her the ivory throne, and all who quested for the goddess Vela also wore a red cloak. But the woman eyeing her now was no mere princess. Legend was that Hanan had fucked one of her foremothers. Now that god's silver blood ran through her veins, and his strength through her limbs. So Lizzan felt a bit of a fool when she said to the woman, "I was told that bandits prey the length of this road. I offer my sword and assistance if we happen upon them." The woman's dark eyes swept Lizzan from